Hey, what's up? It's Deanna. And today I dedicate this video to my friend in Vietnam, Jerry. Jerry loves antique photos and he wanted me to make more videos showing my collection. And I appreciate Jerry because he's been a longtime subscriber of my channel and he's been very loyal. So hi, Jerry. All right, so what I have here is a very old photo album. And of course it's Victorian, like most of the things I collect. And you can see it's made out of beautiful, beautiful tooled leather. The spine is beautiful in itself as well. It's like a work of art. And the pages are gorgeous. You can see the gold gilt leafing that's done on the edges of the pages. And on the side, we have these little brass clips that are made out of metal. I mean, just absolutely beautiful. They look like little buckles, and it keeps the album closed. So let me show you the pictures in this album. I'm so excited. Most of them are CDV photos and tintypes. It's very, very, very hard to open these books without worrying because they're so old that the age has just like really taken its toll on the binding. And just handling the old paper makes me very nervous. So when we open the book, the first thing I see on the left is an inscription. And you don't see that very often. And it says, presented by John A. Myers to Mr. and Mrs. Daniel Franquier on 31st January, 1865. So this was just in the new year of 1865 that this was given to someone as a present. So the first person in the album is this lady here. And you can certainly tell that this dress is from the 1860s. And the reasoning for that is because of the bell shape. Now, as the decades moved on, ladies' dresses got more narrower and weren't as wide as the bottom of these dresses. Also, you can tell an 1860s photo by the fact that the lady has her hair parted down the center. I don't know if you can see that there. And it's like almost like tucked up over her ears. So now the next page, we have what's known as a gem tintype. And this is a teeny, teeny, tiny little photo that was placed inside a little frame made out of paper. So it was like a little framed piece of paper that you put the gem tintype in, which was very, very teeny tiny. And you can see this man, he has hand tinted cheeks. And when you see the tinted cheeks, that was something someone paid extra for, since of course they didn't have color photography back then. So you would pay the photographer extra, which was sometimes as much as the photo, to have your cheeks tinted, your clothing tinted, or your jewelry, or any accessories you had on you tinted. And here we have another 1860s photograph. You can tell by the way her hair is parted in the center. Her cheeks, and this is a CDV paper photograph. You can see her cheeks were hand tinted. And she's wearing that big, beautiful dress with the bell shape. Now, a lot of times in 1860s and the 1870s, you'll see these fringed arm chairs. And that's another way that you can date your photos. So we have a small child here. Very, very cute. And we have an older woman here wearing a beautiful bonnet. And she's wearing, again, a huge, huge bell-shaped dress. And so far, all these photos look to be from the 1860s. So we have this lady here with a big, like, she looks like a Southern belle. And she has her hair parted down the center. You can see around her waist, she looks to be wearing a pocket watch chain. This gentleman appears to be wearing actually a Civil War uniform. Now, sadly, there's no name for this gentleman on the back of the card. But look at the buttons on the coat and look at the hat. That looks possibly like a Union officer. We have this lady wearing a beautiful crucifix hanging from her waist. And she has what I collect around, if you look at the neckline area, she's wearing a hair work brooch. It was made out of human hair, and that was all the rage back then. And we have this gentleman here who also looks like he may be a Union soldier. And you can tell by the buttons on his coat. So here we have another Civil War lady wearing that big, big bell-shaped gown. She's wearing beautiful jewelry. And she has tinted cheeks. Now this gentleman looks like he's maybe in the Navy. I don't know if, I know the Marines were around for a very long time. I don't know if he's a Marine or a naval officer. If anybody knows anything about the military, please write in the comments below. But he's definitely wearing a military uniform. You don't generally see people smiling. She has a hint of a smile. So in these old photos, people never seem to be quite happy. And that's because it took so long to take a photograph that it was a miserable, miserable thing to get done. So we have another lady who looks like she's wearing that big, huge bell-shaped gown. She probably has a giant like hoop underneath her skirt to make that dress stand out like that. That's really awesome. And here we have another, what appears to be Union soldier. And he's wearing his uniform. Sadly, I don't have his name as well, but look at his uniform. He has the coat with the buttons and that hat that's oh so familiar. We have another gem tintype, and this was hand tinted as well. You can see the cheeks. Now it looks like we have another soldier here wearing what looks like to be a naval officer's, someone in the military that had something to do with the Marines or the Navy. Again, I am unsure. If you know, write in the comments below. Here's the uniform. That's really cool. And here we have a lady wearing a beautiful dress. She has a laurel wreath in her hair. And her dress, look at the enormous sleeves on her dress. Not only is her dress bell-shaped, the sleeves are bell-shaped as well. And we have this gentleman here. And he has a really nice beard. And here we have an Abe Lincoln CDV photo. And here we have George Washington embracing Abraham Lincoln in heaven. So this was the assassination of Abraham Lincoln. This was like a memorial card that people bought to put in their album. This is very interesting and historical. We have a small child here. And this one is phenomenal. You don't see this too often, especially during the 1860s. Now, if you notice, she has something that looks like a curtain to her right over her shoulder. That was all hand tinted. And that cost an enormous amount of money back then. Her cheeks are tinted as well. And this was not something for somebody who was, like actually below middle class. This is somebody upper middle class to wealthy. They would be able to afford to have their photo tinted like this. Can you imagine? Look at that. They had no color photos, but this one almost looks like a color photo. That is spectacular. So here we have a very, very old woman. She looks to be missing some teeth. She's wearing a very old bonnet and dress in the 1860s. And if you look at the curtain over her shoulder, you see the curtain with the tassels? Doesn't that look very familiar? So that could be from the same studio. We have another gem tintype photo here. The cheeks were hand tinted, as you can see. which was an added cost, like I mentioned earlier. Here we have another CDV photo of this gentleman here. Then we have another gem tintype. This one shows a little child with hand-tinted cheeks. Very, very sweet. Now we have a lady standing. Look at the furniture, by the way. I really like looking at this old furniture. It was quite beautiful. And again, it looks like our curtain is nearby. The curtain over her shoulder. And here's another gem tintype with tinted cheeks. And another gem tintype. You can see when I move it, look how it was constructed. And that was actually developed on blackened iron. It wasn't tin. It was painted over iron. And we have, let's see. Let me try to get it in a better light. There we go. You see his cheeks. Now I tried to put this book on a little stand because it's very hard to get the right angle to show the pictures. Here's more gem tintypes. Very beautiful. Another tintype. And look how nicely colored her cheeks are. And if you notice around her neck area, she's wearing a brooch and they had gilded that gold. And he has a really cool looking hat. Now that looks like, it looks like a military hat. If you look at that, that definitely looks like a military hat. He's not wearing his uniform, but he has his military hat. And it looks Union. I could be wrong. If you know, write it in the comments below. Here's another hand-tinted photograph. Look at that. You could see the paint. You see how they painted that? You can see the brush strokes. Another gem tintype with tinted cheeks. We have another gem tintype here. Another one here. Look at the checkered pants. Isn't that cool? And we're almost coming to a close of this album. We have this gentleman here. Very interesting looking hair. And we have a family over here. Another tintype. This guy's wearing cool spectacles. And the last page, we have this lady with a really, really cool heart-shaped hairstyle. Look at that. That is amazing. And we have come to a close of this album. We just show you the graphics. Look at that, the gilding on the pages. And that's all. So once again, thanks for watching. If you like what you see, give me a thumbs up and a subscribe.